You're on.
All right, hey, new chapter leaders. So today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know, kind of in your mind and your heart, to start and run a meeting, and the stuff you're going to actually need on kind of a minute-by-minute basis to make sure this goes off and is super duper successful. So the first couple things that we want to touch on is the meeting basics. What everybody is thinking when they actually show up. All the people who are going to be at your first meeting or new people, they're going to be new, they're going to be a little nervous. They're going to be thinking, what the heck is this? I remember my first meeting that Claire held, and I actually waited outside for 10 minutes just because I didn't want to be embarrassed and go into the wrong room talking about California secession like some sort of crazy person.
That's so sweet. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So all of your first people are going to be thinking the same thing. They're going to be a little timid and a little bit nervous.
And some people are going to be completely over the top enthusiastic and not remotely nervous. And
that's true.
So your job is to be a manager of all of these different kind of energies.
Yeah. So the first thing we want to do is let them know, what this is, like what this meeting is for. Let them know we're here to sign up volunteers to push this movement forward, to get those 585,000 signatures to take our first step. And there are a couple of different ways that we can do this. One is having people sign up for actual volunteer teams. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But what we have to look for when they're doing that is if they are actually in to do this, if they want nothing to do with this and they made a mistake and they thought this would be cool but it's not their thing, or if they're on the fence, somebody who's wavering a little bit. It's really, really important that you figure out who fits into which one of those categories, because we're a volunteer organization. The last thing we want to do is focus on people who don't actually want to be there and try and drag them along. We're going to find lots of people who want to do this and then focus on those people.
So just to give you permission to be personally, internally ruthless about that, don't feel like it's your job to persuade people that this is a good idea. People will persuade themselves.
Yes. And one really big thing to realize about on the fence, something that you should be looking out for your entire meeting is, the regional people, the central part of the organization. We're going to need a couple of big skills. People who are really into PR and have years of experience, people who are really into marketing and have years of experience, programmers, other grassroots organizers, people that have organized teams of a couple thousand. People like this will be showing up to your meeting. So it's really important that when you take the intro sheet they use, take a look at everything, and then identify who they are. And if they're on the fence, we can figure out a plan to get them into the in category so they can really, really help out. Things to spend time focusing on.
In the meeting.
Yes, in the meeting. Yeah. Things to spend time focusing on. We want to give everybody something to do before they leave that meeting. If they're going to be in, they should be on a team. We want them to have an activity that they can push themselves forward and get a little victory and actually realize internally that this is something
very
real.
doable.
Yeah, this is very doable. Want to get it moving. So these are not like general strategy meetings. Those have their place and time. That kind of environment is something we do like really small groups with your teams. But for right now, it's important to get people on the volunteer list and get them moving inside of their team. Get their ideas. Let them have those small victories for themselves that are so important. And then the second thing, they're not going to know exactly what to do. I think it's kind of one of those things where people are always hoping that the person volunteering is going to tell them what they want to do, and the person volunteering is hoping the leader is going to tell them what to do. We already have teams that we are going to talk about in just a minute. Get them on one of those teams. If they have a really big skill, they can always take a bigger role, and that's going to be an awesome part of this.
Yeah, and also just to remember that there are lots of small roles that matter as well. So again, we're going to have lots of different personality types.
Yeah.
Some people are really comfortable taking the lead. Other people are so much more comfortable following. There is no value distinction between the two. We need both. So accommodate that in your groups, in your meetings. I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, on that.
That's the big emotional stuff.
Yeah, and there's more nuance which I'm going to go into over here after this. So, but did you want to touch on this?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of jobs that we need to have people help out with. Writing letters to the editor, sending out event flyer. We need to look out for designers, people who can call officials, people who can even just make the movement look large by posting themselves in a t-shirt selfie. people who can call volunteers who haven't been to meetings yet.
I'll be right back. Keep going.
Yep. And then the biggest thing is signature circulators. This entire movement is predicated on 585,000 signatures. So that's the real big thing is signature circulators. And then that's basically what we should really be on the lookout for inside of your meetings.
And I think what we're going to do to help you is just create a really, really simple document, like a one-pager, which lists all of this information in a totally user-friendly way so that you don't have to remember everything that we're saying in this video. It's just we're doing it this way because it's fun and friendly and we get to meet you, and vice versa. But we also want you to have something tangible, physical, that you can just have to hand, that you can take to your meetings with you.
Is there other jobs that people can do to help out?
There are a ton. If somebody self-identifies something that they think that they should do, that would be awesome. Take that idea down and then let them run with it.
Well, I mean, I see that somewhere about design a flyer, go to events and pass out flyers.
Yeah. So actually right now, this is kind of a fun thing. If anyone out there loves to design stuff, we want to create some new flyer material for the January 20th and 21st marches, the inauguration march, the one that we're super celebrating, and the Women's March. So if you can design something, please just do it. Have fun with it. Go to YesCalifornia.org. Look at what we've got so far in terms of our aesthetic. Improve on that. There's room for that. Have fun. Be creative. Just send it in to any of the regional directors, or anyone who you want to send it into on the website. The email addresses are there. Do it now. Just do it. Don't ask permission. Send it in. If we like it, we'll be able to use it and we'll be eternally grateful. So that's kind of pressing, urgent. Anything else on this?
Call officials?
Yes.
Call elected officials?
What do we want to say about that?
You should call elected officials and tell them to support this or make a statement about it or try to speak on it in any degree.
Call the elected officials.
There you go.
And call the media and write letters to the editor. Anything that we can do to basically get people who are in some level an official or someone of authority to even mention that this exists means that more people hear about it.
Yes.
And remember, anyone you talk to, all we are doing in this movement is making sure that we have the option to vote. That's it. We're giving ourselves the opportunity to have a choice about voting for or against California seceding. So you don't have to be selling anything more than that. We're simply selling that option to have a choice.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so act on your own, be self-motivated.
Do you want to get into how we run the meetings on a day-to-day?
Yeah. Sam, yeah, perfect.
Cool. So, do you want to go over this since you have never...
Yeah, so this, and again, this is something that we'll make it available, hopefully for download from YesCalifornia.org. This is a small list. It's called the intro form. It's something I did when I did my first chapter meeting, because I was holding my first meeting. I'm thinking, what on earth am I going to do? Going to be faced with people. They're going to be looking to me, and I'm meant to do something. So I created this list of stuff, and it talks about, what excites you about the idea of Calexit. What kind of country do you want California to be? What skills do you bring to the table that you want to share with the movement? And what do you need to know or understand better in order to be able to really move ahead? And then we ask for their name, their email, phone, and if they have a website, their website. But we're really after the skills. That's the most important takeaway from this. The other part is to help people connect to what we're doing. So that's the intro form. When they've done that, after they've done that, then basically you can go very, very briefly, and it depends on the size of your group in any of the meetings, so this is at your discretion for how long you have. But you want people to share what brought them to the table. Try and keep it down to a minute per person, and ask them, to talk about why they're excited about the idea, which is actually number 2 on this particular form. At that point, the person who's leading the meeting, which might be you, probably is, you're just going to introduce yourself. You are going to talk about, perhaps you could have more than a minute, so the platform is yours. You talk about why you're doing this, what you want from people, what you're hoping to inspire in people being the people at the meeting, and then in turn how they're going to inspire their extended communities. One thing you may find, you've got a lot of different kind of people that are going to show up. Some people maybe literally don't have anything else they want to do that day, and they see a meeting and they think, well, that might be fun. So you're going to have people that are really well read up on this, people who haven't got a clue, and people who are curious and kind of, as we mentioned over there, on the fence. So if you find people wanting to wander off in the conversation to talk about like something that's more of a complex conversation, you are entitled, and we encourage you to bring it back. So anything that starts to feel, you'll know it because you'll start to feel this anxiety here in your solar plexus, and you'll start to think, come on. You know, when you get that going on, that's your red light. You press pause, you say, thank you so much, this is very valid. What you're talking about is really important. And we need to get back to this focus because we've got to get organised around getting signatures. That's what you do. So you politely cut it off, but you give them a place to talk about it later. You can even offer, if you'd like to talk about that kind of thing after the meeting, when we're on our own time, perfect, okay? Any complex questions that simply feel beyond your knowledge level, direct them to Marcus. Marcus is holding the camera right now. He's the person that can deal with that. He wants you to be free to have the specific conversation that is all about outcomes. So stay focused on signature gathering, organising for that, and also on event organising that will lead to signature gathering.
Can I give some examples
Please.
of stuff that are great to call Marcus on? So here's some examples on some things that are great to call Marcus on. Will California militarily resist the United States government if we choose to secede? That's an awesome question. I guarantee you're going to get asked that. Here's another one you are for sure going to get asked. Are we going to include Washington and Oregon and a Cascadia state? You're totally going to get asked that question a bajillion times. Could we all get hung for treason? 2 people have asked me that question so far.
The answer is no, but
yeah.
yes.
So unless the questions directly relate to how to get 585,000 signatures and what we can do to gather those signatures and take this first small baby step, those really in-depth big ones, any questions pertaining to Russia, pertaining to anything like that is not about 585,000 signatures, those are awesome Marcus questions.
Yes, we like Marcus.
Yeah.
He gets to do that for us. And then I think one of the things you'll do, perhaps nearer the end or whenever it's right for you, this is your show, is you're going to have people sign up for activities. That's the deal. You don't want to have that meeting end and it's just been a conversation.
Yes.
So a conversation is the only reason to have conversation during these meetings is to get people to sign up for activities. Because you've got to have action steps. Otherwise it just bleeds out into nothing. So activities, examples of activities are, why don't you talk about this, because this was yours.
So there are 3 different teams that we need people signed up for at the end of these meetings. Neighborhood and event captains. These are going to be the people who organize the petition circulators going door to door, going to local places like Safeway, or going to actual events and posting up and getting signatures there. These are like the key people. They are literally the red blood cells that carry the oxygen to this entire movement. The neighborhood captains, event captains. I cannot stress that enough. Grassroots organizing, getting more people to the next meeting. These are people who are going to be calling everybody in your region. The San Francisco chapter, for instance, has almost 2,000 people who have offered to be volunteers. One chapter leader can't handle that all on their own. So we want you to have volunteers to help get that organized. This includes emailing people, calling people, seeing what everybody's doing, seeing if they can help you create new meetings. And then the regional areas are going to need help as well. One of those things are a team for PR and fundraising. Every movement's going to need a little bit of money. We don't need a lot. We just need a little bit to help keep the lights on for some of the software run, things like that. So we need PR people and fundraisers on the regional level. So these are the 3 big signups. And note, every single one of these is directly relating to the 585,000 signatures.
And then just as a sort of a tip for one of the ways you can start to explore what communities you're actually right in the middle of is obviously local Facebook pages or groups, but also check out nextdoor.com, because every region that I'm aware of in the Bay, and this is specific perhaps to the Bay Area, I don't know if it's anywhere else, when you move into a new neighborhood, you can actually become part of the online community, and there, in those communities, people can sell their sofa. They can say, I saw someone's dog running, in the street. They could say, hey, someone started to steal packages from your mailbox. So there's like all sorts of different communications that happen on that website. It's very, very grassroots, and it's a free website. It's a good thing to be a part of, and it's somewhere that you should, I think, be able to post. You might need to word it a certain way, because I'm not sure how hot they are on overt political action. But if you create community, you could even create a community discussion group. Right, that's a way around it. Yeah, hey, is anyone interested in talking about politics? I love talking about politics. Do that. You can do that on nextdoor.com. The other thing we want you to make sure you do is regularity. People actually do like patterns. It's part of our reptile brain. It's our very basic fundamental operating system. So set your next meetup. My suggestion is that you actually have a meetup every single week. But perhaps if you want to just do every other week in person, and then like the alternate weeks, you could do a conference call, something like that. But just keep people keep that heart pumping on a regular basis. What else?
That's basically it.
Cover that center square.
Well, this we're going to do in a separate little tiny video that will be very brief that you can look for after this one. This is about the marches in January.
So there's three really big things we want to do here, right? So everything we've talked about so far kind of has an overriding theme, right? The overriding theme is 585,000 signatures. And to do that, three pretty important things have to happen. The first one is organizing regions. That means organizing the Bay Area, organizing Southern California, San Diego. California is a really, really big place. So we need to have a lot of different chapters and a lot of different areas, which is why we're making videos like this today. But having each chapter act as its own organization is really, really important too. 2021, there are two different marches coming up, I guess to kind of hallmark the inauguration of the Trump administration. So YesCalifornians is going to have a really, really big presence there, so we would love to have a lot of these chapters organized and moving along by the time that happens, already having a couple of meetings to get people to these rallies.
Wearing the t-shirts.
Yes.
Wearing these t-shirts, taking pictures with these t-shirts on. And that's at DC, it's in LA, it's in Oakland and San Francisco.
Yes.
If you want to host a table at one of those, then just reach out. Email me, email Sam, email any of us.
Yes.
Any of the officers.
And then initiate outreach. This is really important to understand. It's kind of at the heart
For the initiative.
Yes. The heart of the organization. We are a totally grassroots organization. This kind of organizing is really, really important. Bringing in new volunteers to help with 585,000 signatures. None of us are paid. We don't have like a huge donor or anything really backing or behind us.
Unless you want to be.
Yes, unless you want to be, exactly.
If you're out there and you've got lots of cash you'd like to support this with, that's brilliant.
So bringing in new people who are passionate about not having the California way of life altered to a point that we don't recognize it anymore, that is very important to bring those new people in. Every single one of us here is a petition circulator. We're all petition gatherers. We're all cheerleaders for the organization, no matter what it is that we do. I write emails. I love to organize. I love to bring people to meetings. And that's kind of what this organization is really all about.